In today's video, we're speed cleaning my dad's house, and as you can see, it really needs it. Now, these are my favourite kinds of cleans because they're on the clock, and in my head, that immediately turns cleaning into a competition with myself to see how much I can get done in a short space of time. If you're new here, my job here on this channel is to be a virtual body double, to chat away with you while you get your tasks done as I get my tasks done. It's also to hold your attention, keep you focused and on track, and to make you feel like the time has just flown by. So if you're wondering why I go off on so many conversational tangents, that's why. I want you to be able to get through your housework and to feel like you've had the best time doing it. So I'm going to stop rambling now and let's get on with the cleaning. I made a judgment call and started in the living room because it was looking more like a wardrobe than a living room. So my first task in here was to get rid of clothes and make the floor visible. That's the first thing I do when I step into a messy room. I take a look around and assess what the main issues are. And the thing I always start with is the thing I know will make the biggest difference visually. That always helps when you're feeling overwhelmed and the task at hand feels like it's going to be a slog. Get the biggest task or problem out of the way first and see how doing just that transforms the room and spurs you on. As you can see, my dad's very much into his fitness and he's acquired this new, is it to jump on? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's getting out of this room. He can bring it straight back in if he wants, but at the minute I need it to not be there because it's stressing me out. I'm not going to bother moving all of the other weights though because it literally is just a waste of my time. They get used every day. And I've got more important things to be getting on with than moving weights in and out of rooms. If you've watched my channel before, especially videos where I've cleaned my dad's house in the past, you'll know more about my family and why some of our houses get messy often. So I'll keep it brief in this video and say that he works shifts. And when he's home, he prioritises his art and his fitness. And he struggles to keep on top of daily mess, just like I do, and it builds up. If you're wondering why there was half an onion on the table, I wondered the exact same thing. Someone mentioned to me that people use onions to draw in viruses and bacteria. Nothing could have prepared me for the actual reason it was there though, and I'm coming with receipts and I shall read it to you. Okay, so I said, Dad, why did you have half an onion on your coffee table? And he responded, interesting question. I was trying to test my ability to produce tears because I think it might be compromised, especially in the left eye. I tried smelling salts first, then the onion. Nothing much happened with either, so I think I may be onto something. So there you have it. He was sat there trying to make himself cry with an onion. But back to what I was saying, and I know a lot of people don't agree, but keeping on top of things and staying clean and tidy isn't as simple as just being disciplined for everybody. If that were the case, he wouldn't be working the long hours that he does, or he wouldn't be committed to working out every day. It's one of those things that's hard to explain to someone who doesn't struggle with it. We all have things we're good at and things we're not so great at. But one thing's for sure, my dad is one of the kindest, most patient and most talented people I've ever met. So it was my goal to give him the gift of a cosy living room and a clean kitchen this Christmas. Or as clean as I could get it in the time I had because I had from school drop-off to school pick-up to get as much done as I could. So it was all going very well and I was getting through it fast, but then something happened and I got distracted yet again by a box of old photos. Having anything like that in my proximity is dangerous because I'll lose 5 hours. But on the left there, that's my grandma. This is my mum. Isn't she cute? And look at that settee. This is my auntie. And you'll have seen me clean her house too. Messiness runs in the family. This is my dad, and don't worry, both of my parents would never dream of reading that newspaper nowadays. This is my granddad. He used to be a bin man. Here he is asleep on Christmas Day. And this is my mum's dad, not my dad's dad, obviously, because my dad is one of the palest people I've ever met. Here's my auntie again. And this is baby me, and how much do I look like my children? Here's me doing what I love most in the world, eating and drawing. And I know you didn't ask to see my family, but I love them very much, and I speak about them a lot on this channel, so it's nice to put a name to a face, isn't it? Now I've got something cool to show you, and again, you'll have seen this before if you've been on my channel before, but this is a lenticular print. My dad drew this, and it's basically where you interlace images and make the picture look like it's moving. But yeah, my mum and dad got together when they were 14, so they basically grew up together in each other's houses and with each other's parents. My mum's sister was friends with my dad's brothers. My mum and dad aren't together now, they split up when I was 8, but my dad used to take pictures of everything, and it's so lovely to have pictures to look back on. Anyway, back to the clothes situation, because as you saw, I missed some. All of the clothes, or the wardrobe that was happening in this room, was actually my brother's doing. and it's because he has a phobia of getting dog hairs on his clothes. A little bit of context when it comes to my brother is he's autistic, and he's recently gotten a job with me at Asda, and his dog Smithers sleeps in his bedroom, and he sheds a lot. And he's taken to leaving his clothes in the living room, because it's the room Smithers doesn't really go in, but obviously the clothes being all over the place isn't an ideal situation for anyone. They at least need to be a bit more contained so that the room's livable again. So what I did for the time being was just shove them all into a black bag, and then he can just pick them out and iron them as and when. Because the things he mainly leaves down here are his work clothes, because he's the most self-conscious about those getting hairs on. There is a chest of drawers in the living room that I think he intended to start putting those clothes in, but you know, life happens. When you're neurodivergent, which a lot of my family members are, if you didn't know, it's genetic, but things that seem really simple and straightforward can be complicated and overwhelming to us. Hence the seemingly never-ending and easily preventable mess. It just hasn't turned out to be easily preventable to us. But we plod on, and we're good at other things. Anyway, up until last year, this house had never been decorated for Christmas, and my dad's lived here over 20 years now. Again, it's just not something he prioritises. He spends every spare hour he's got working on his art, but nothing lifts the mood like a Christmas tree and twinkly lights. And I had the time because I'd finally finished my own Christmas decorating. Wrapping, that's another story. And I was having a great time. I had Desperate Housewives on the telly. I'd brought a little lunch for myself. Food is always an incentive for me to get through tasks. And I was very excited to eat my sandwich after I'd finished decorating the Christmas tree. Unfortunately, Smithers decided to eat it first. And if you wanted to put a face to a name, this is him. I didn't get any footage of him today though because he kept bowling in and knocking my tripods over. And he ate my food, so he had to go upstairs out the way. Anyway, it was time to clear this fireplace, ready for a garland. And I do realise, by the way, that I am talking so fast through this video. And I'll get into the whys in just a second. But here's my dad's Father's Day card from earlier in the year. It's got me and him when I was a little girl, me when I'd just had Rudy, him and the boys, and my brother's in the bottom left-hand photo. And I like candid photos, and that is what his face looks like 90% of the time. Do you know what he's like? Have you ever watched This Country? It's a comedy in the UK. But he is like an angry curtain. Curtain the character, not an actual curtain. Anyway, next I had a quick hoover round, hoovered the fireplace because my brother started using this fire when he shouldn't, because we have no idea what state the chimney's in. I was ravenous at this point, thanks to Smithers, because I'd rushed out of the house without having any breakfast. Me and my dad are very similar in a lot of respects, but when it comes to food, we couldn't be more different. Every waking moment, I'm thinking about food and what I'm going to eat next. And my dad eats one meal a day, and it's the same meal every day. Chicken, kale and sweet potato. Sounds hideous. But hey, that's the reason we have to rely on him to get our stuff out of the attic. The ladder we have is too short and me and Charlie can't lift our own body weight, but my dad pulls himself up like the Terminator. Doesn't help that we eat like Henry VIII as well. But that's my goal for the new year, being able to lift my own body weight. Anyway, I pulled the curtains too to make the room all cosy. Put a crackling fire on the telly, and that's one room done. Now, it's time for the kitchen. At this point, I only had about 2 hours before I had to leave. And although the whole kitchen needed cleaning, it needed a tidy and declutter, the floor needed scrubbing, the windows needed doing, I decided the main priority in this room was the surfaces. It's about to be Christmas and we need cooking space. So my plan was to start from the right side and to work my way along. And if I didn't manage to finish it, because I didn't want to rush through and do a half-hearted job, I wanted to clean. But if I didn't manage to finish it, at least that's a start and my dad can pick up where I left off before we all come round for family Christmas. Anyway, as you saw, the drain was massively blocked, and I thought it would be, so I brought along some Mr. Muscle preemptively. But obviously while that was working its magic, I wasn't able to use the sink. So I got out the elbow grease to tackle the grease stain behind the air fryer, let that sit and clean the coffee stains off the washing machine. If you didn't know, me and my boys actually have 3 Christmases every year. We have one day with my dad, one day with my mum, and one day with Charlie's family. And it alternates every year. But you know what that means? It means 3 Christmas dinners. Who can grumble at that? And now we have a lovely living room here to sit and watch Christmas movies together in. So, remember I was saying earlier on in the video that I talk quite fast for a reason. In some videos anyway. It's because I know a lot of my viewers will be ADHD. Putting out the content I put out, it comes with the territory. We struggle with cycles of big messes that we try to clean up in one big go. So I like to occasionally put out content for people whose brains work like mine. We struggle to initiate tasks, to find motivation, and when we do by some miracle manage to start, we find it tough to maintain momentum. We often get distracted or bored and zone out when something's too monotonous. And so often we'll go looking for cleaning videos to help us start ours, but it won't provide the motivation we'd hoped for. Maybe the pace isn't fast enough, maybe the video we've chosen played music when we needed someone to be talking to us, as if they were in the room and we were working together. No hate to the videos with music, each genre of cleaning video has its fans. But I know when I'm searching for one, I want to clean alongside the video. I don't want to be stuck in the spot watching the screen. Sometimes I do, but that's more if I want an itch scratched in my brain. You know, the satisfaction of watching something messy come clean. But most of the time, I want to be getting on with my own stuff. And if nobody's speaking to me while I do that, I don't know what's happening on the screen. I'm not getting any encouragement, and I might as well just have a playlist of music on. By the way, I had to soak that tub in bleach. It had a layer of grime on and I just thought, let's sterilise it. So yeah, I want to be looking at the screen every so often and seeing how much they've achieved in the time I've been getting on with my stuff. So what I try to do with my videos is incorporate all of that. The visual aspect for people who want to sit and watch, the conversational aspect, and I also try to keep you updated with what I'm doing and what's going on the screen for the people who are getting on with their own cleaning. And when I have ADHD folk in mind specifically when I'm creating a video, I like to keep it snappy, move in and out of conversation, change it up and keep you alert. Same thing's happening visually on the screen. We aren't staying in one place for too long. And I realise this will actually overwhelm other groups of people who watch, and this is why I slow it down on other videos. The point is, we're all so different and our needs are so varied. And it's my job as a body double to cater to a varied bunch of people. Some videos are gonna be to your taste and some aren't. And I really like to challenge myself when it comes to things like speed and video length and camera angle and what I talk about. Just know there's always a method behind what I do. And it's to help people get through and to feel seen. No judgment. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm gradually making my way along the surfaces. The sink is clean, the tiles are clean, and now we're moving on to this next section. And my dad has this grill cooker thing, and there is grease everywhere. So I naively thought it was going to be as simple as just moving it. Turns out that was not the case, and there was a tray full of grease underneath it, and it went everywhere. So that was fab, and it took ages to get up as well. Really not ideal when I was in a rush, but things happen. So I thought my best bet was to soak up most of the grease with kitchen towel, sprayed some elbow grease to see if that would dissolve it a bit. I had to keep repeating the process, and luckily I brought a pack of sponges because this ruined 3 of my sponges. You know what it's like when you get grease or lard on a sponge and it just makes it sticky and horrible? Blech. Anyway, while I'm getting this done, and because fingers crossed I've gotten this posted before Christmas, I'm cutting it very, very fine. It's the 23rd now. But I just want to say I hope you have a lovely day. I hope it's restful and filled with love. Even if you don't celebrate in the traditional sense, this time of year is for everybody. My mum actually celebrates Yule, and you know, a tree is tradition for us too. I'm not a religious person, but for me, it's that one time of the year where most people are off work and we just get to chill in each other's company with no other commitments, eat good food and make it magical for the kids. One of the things I'm most excited about this year, though, is the final Gavin and Stacey episode, finding out whether Nessa and Smithy actually got married, and the new Wallace and Gromit film. Cannot wait. So yeah, hope you have a good one, whatever you're doing. Anyway, now that the surface is actually clean, I can wash all of the pots. I had about an hour left, but I wasn't going to let it stress me out. I knew if I sped through the pots, I'd have time to wipe down that windowsill, because it had a lot of, I think, fly droppings on. Wipe down all of the cupboard doors, quickly clean the oven, and then clear the surfaces on the other side, even if I didn't manage to clean them. That was the plan anyway. So that plant on the left, that's actually a kale plant that I grew from a seed, and my dad's managed to keep it alive for over a year. I'm impressed. But as you know, he loves kale, so I thought, why not get him a plant that he can actually pick from himself? I need to get back into growing food. It's my dream to own an allotment one day like my mum. She's the reason my kids love fruit so much, and peas. Ike loves fresh peas straight out of the pod. But yeah, they're like a plague of locusts whenever they go to her allotment. And there's nothing better than seeing your child running around picking raspberries and strawberries and carrots straight from the source. She even has a eucalyptus tree, and I steal branches for my stick insects, because that's their natural food source. My stick insects originate from Australia. So yeah, one day, and I'm going to have loads of ducks, because they're my favourite animal in the world. Now, we had about 20 minutes on the clock at this point, so I decided to clear that section where the spice rack was and clean that section there. And if I got to the section near the window there, it was just to clear it, not to clean it. You can only do what you can do. My plan is to come back and get more done after New Year, after I have a 2-week break, because I need a break from filming and editing. But like I said on a previous video, I want to get my carpet vax on his stairs. I did actually bring it, but I had no idea what I'd be able to get done. The stairs is something my dad's actually quite upset about, because he saved for a long time to buy carpets, and they've kind of been ruined by Smithers, and they have a lot of compacted hair in. One of my dad's mental blocks when it comes to keeping on top of things, and I do understand it because I'm quite the same. But it's things like that, knowing that even if you do have a daily routine and you keep on top of things, you feel like the house is falling apart around you, and it can make you feel like, what's the point, because it isn't perfect. I know it's silly, but I do it too, and I'm sure a lot of us do. It's just to vary in degrees, isn't it? And this is kind of an extreme case. We want everything to be perfect before we feel like we can start. And obviously life's never going to be perfect. I know he's been working on getting new doors put up around the house for over a year. He's got some really lovely ones with stained glass, and they've been in that hallway for so long. Smithers has bitten chunks out of the carpet on the landing, and he isn't in a position to be able to replace it at the moment, and the paintwork's chipping away in a lot of rooms. So it's weighing on him a little bit. He wants to get things done, but there's a block there. We all know maintaining things and keeping a tidy space, no matter whether things are perfect or not, feels better mentally, and it gets you into a better frame of mind, but getting yourself to do it every day is another story, isn't it? I have a similar issue in my house with clutter. It's a block, because I know no matter how many times I tidy, it takes seconds for it to turn into chaos, because there's just too much stuff, and it makes you think, I just can't keep doing this. I'm working so hard and putting so much time into this, and it gets undone at the click of a finger. Usually at the most inconvenient time, like when my mum's about to walk through the door, or even worse, my mother-in-law. Anyway, after I'd wiped down all the cupboard doors, Smithers makes that mess, by the way, climbing up. But I had about 2 minutes left, and I thought, right, I'm just going to clear this one counter, and that's all I could manage. But still, it's a difference, isn't it?